US 95 and northbound. Alright, we are talking about US 95 North, king of the near miss. It comes close to a lot of big places, but it managed to miss a lot of big and small places along its route. So that's kind of a running theme for this road. It's pretty interesting. Let's take a look at the route of US 95. It starts at the Mexican border and goes all the way to the Canadian border. So it runs the whole gamut, and it is in the interior west the whole way. It's a fun road. Alright, we are going to talk northbound US 95. So we're starting out here in Mexico. There's this one lane that is for the US, and here is where you would go through the gates to enter the US and enter onto US 95. San Luis, Arizona is where we enter once we cross the border. We get a Begin US 95 sign. This is obviously a new version of US 95. The old version would have been the main road right through downtown. You're watching Control City Freak. This is the YouTube channel where we talk about highways and the places that they're signed to go to. If you dig this kind of content, why not give us a like? And if you really like it, why not subscribe? Yeah, subscribe. We get a nice double marker here. US 95 is going to be making a left north of downtown in San Luis, Arizona. And we come back to the old alignment of 95 and we can turn right for Yuma. Going straight will take you back to Mexico. We're going northbound in Yuma and we have a junction where we will turn right. We meet I-8 in Yuma and we get east for Phoenix and Tucson, and I can assure you west is signed for San Diego. Don't worry, it always is. At the I-8 junction, we get 95 north for Proving Ground and Quartzsite, so that is the way we shall go. Here is the Proving Ground that you go by. Looks pretty rough. Looks like just camping there for a day would be proving something. And in Quartzsite, we meet Arizona 95, which I thought might have been the old alignment for US 95, but apparently it's an unrelated and older road. Go figure. We are turning left to get over to I-10, which we see at this point is signed for Blythe. Once we weave our way around to I-10, a sign for Los Angeles, which it should be signed all the way, but California, maybe not so much. You know you're in the middle of nowhere, Arizona, when you get a sign saying rest area 11 miles. We cross the Colorado River and the California state line on I-10, and right after we cross, we get one of these Welcome to California agricultural checkpoint centers where they make sure you're not bringing any apples into California. And on the other side of that, we do get a proper Welcome to California sign, so that's nice to see. A lot of the time we just get the kind of cheap state line type ones. Very soon into California, we get our exit off of I-10 for US 95. US 95 sign for Needles here, and Fairgrounds. We get off the ramp and we get a sign telling us Fairgrounds turn right, but we don't get a sign telling us which way to go for Needles. So even California knows that signing Needles is a bit of a joke. Not much out here. We're getting Vidal, 40 miles away, and Needles 96. We go right by the Colorado River, so I think that would be Arizona on the other side of that. Here in Vidal Sassoon, we are getting the sign for Lake Havasu City and the London Bridge. Turn right to get over to Arizona. We meet I-40 and we get this surprisingly good signage, 40 Barstow and 95 Las Vegas. So they are acknowledging 95 and a better control city than Barstow. We're concurrent with I-40 through the Needles area, so West 40, and we get this cool old style North US 95 sign that they do in California. Mileage sign is a bit of a wash. We've seen this on previous episodes. Ludlow, which is basically population 2, and Barstow 139. This sign could be Las Vegas, Los Angeles. How cool would that be? We get our exit for US 95, and US 95 almost seems like an afterthought. It's kind of tacked on there along with Searchlight and Las Vegas. Continuing north on 95, this part was concurrent with Route 66. You can check out my Route 66 video right here. Old 66 is going to turn left for Goffs at Goffs Road, and we are going to continue straight for Searchlight and Las Vegas. And welcome to Nevada. We weren't in Arizona or California for long, but we will be in Nevada for quite a long time. US 95 is the main street of Nevada. It spends more time in Nevada than any other road does. Here in the middle of nowhere, we get a sign for Laughlin and Davis Dam, turn right, Las Vegas straight. And here's a quick look at Searchlight. I delved into it a little bit more in the southbound video, which you can check out right over here. Remaining I-11 and US 93. I-11 signed for Henderson and Las Vegas northbound, and we're converging with 93 and 11. We've got an 11 video coming up soon. I'm going to do that the week that the Chiefs are in Las Vegas, so I'm not going to worry about 11 right now. But since this is theoretically a Las Vegas video, I will show you this the main downtown exit where we meet I-15. This right now, it says US 95 North for Tonopah and Reno. I assume that sign has changed to 11 North. Whether it still has Tonopah and Reno on there, I do not know. Street View hasn't updated for that yet. Now, unfortunately, Street View updated just 2 months ago. Google did not time this very well. They could have waited for those 11 signs before redoing it. This is the current northern end of I-11, so this is where I will pick up US 95 once again. Exit 96, this mileage number is not for 11, this is for US 95. I wonder if they have renumbered all these exits to be based on 11's mileage. Getting on this exit onto US 95, they look like they are ready for I-11 here. That's obviously some green out that has an 11 shield under it that they can just peel off the day that I-11 opens. Not much in these parts as we continue further north. Now we're getting Beatty in Las Vegas, so Reno and Tonopah go away. We're assigned for Beatty. But our next mileage sign, we're getting Indian Springs, Junction, State Route 160. So, you know, if the junction is more important than the town, then it's not much of a town. Tonopah 175. Here is where we meet 160, and 160 is signed for Pahrump. We are still signed for Tonopah. Getting another Junction, State Route, and then Beatty, and then Tonopah. At State Route 373, we've got this wonderful institution here. This place looks awesome. We've got the Area 51 Alien Center, and then there's a big fireworks stand and cafe. Here's the actual sign for 373. Death Valley Junction is what it's signed to. And 95 North Beatty, we shall continue. Beatty, I don't know why they keep giving us Beatty on some of these signs. There's 980 people in Beatty. Why not Tonopah? Reno would be even better, but Tonopah at least. Here we are in the massive metropolis of Beatty, and we are turning right for Tonopah. Now we get Scotty's Junction 36, Tonopah 93. Middle of nowhere out here. Here is Scotty's Junction, and it is the way to Death Valley National Park and Scotty's Castle, which is all the way in California. Looks like from that sign right there, some kind of rave would have been going on at this time of Street View as well. Continuing north, we get Goldfield 31 becomes our secondary. Tonopah still, and then we're getting one beyond Tonopah with Fallon. So I wonder why they're going with that and not with Reno. Of course, this is the main route from Las Vegas to Reno. So really, Reno should be signed the whole way. I know US 95 doesn't go to Reno, but that doesn't really matter. This is Goldfield, Nevada, and if I ever ended up here, I would absolutely go eat at the Dinky Diner. Now we're getting Tonopah 26 and Junction US 667. We meet US 6 in Tonopah, so that's the junction on the other side of the concurrency. Reno back on the map again. Here's where we meet US 6. US 6 signed for Ely. And we will be doing US 6 on this channel soon, so if you want to request something for that, please request it soon. I'm going to be doing a lot of pre-recording pretty quickly in the next couple of weeks. 95 and 6 are together signed for Bishop and Reno. So here is Central Tonopah, Nevada. We have a sign for a library there. And we see the terrifying clown motel one more time. We saw it in the southbound video. I will spare you showing this again when I get to US 6. Now we're getting Junction US 95, 28 miles away, so apparently US 6 is now our lead dog road. 360 and Bishop both there. US 95 now assigned for Hawthorne and Reno. US 6 gets Bishop. Bishop, California, the endpoint of US 6. So that's a pretty good swing there. This split between US 95 and US 6 was requested by CSXEK. And he requested that because he has taken all of US 6. So that's pretty impressive. And like I say, we're going to be covering US 6, the western half first and the eastern half of the US a few weeks later. And thank you so much for that request. I really appreciate that. You can make exit requests as well. As I say, that US 6 video is coming, and you can make a $5 or more super thanks request on a comment of any video in order to make your exit or point of interest request. So this is how CSXEK requested this point of interest was requested by a super sticker. I appreciate everybody who does that. We also got a Patreon going, and you can make requests through that as well. If you have a monthly membership, you can make requests on future videos that we have going. So thank you to everybody who does that too. Continuing north after that Coaldale Junction, we have Mena, Hawthorne, and Fallon as our next three cities. Here is Mena, population 129, so just kind of a wide spot in the road. And in Hawthorne, we are getting a truck 95, so you can head that way if you're driving a truck, I suppose. In Hawthorne, we're going to be turning when we meet Nevada 355, and we see we are assigned for Fallon and Reno. We pass right by Walker Lake. This is so weird. We're in this high desert and basin and range area. I guess this is where all the rain runoff ends up here, is Walker Lake, because there's no rivers to get out. We met a truck 95. Now we're going to meet an Alt 95, signed for Yarrington, and Alt 95 will meet back up with us in the Fallon area. We are signed for Fallon, and why is Reno not on this sign? You could get to Reno kind of go in either direction, but it'd be better to know going straight is faster. Our next mileage sign after that, we get Fallon, Lovelock, Winnemucca. Where's Reno? Why would you not sign Reno on this? Lovelock. Lovelock has like 10 people in it, and it's off of I-80. Why would you possibly sign Lovelock? Nobody's going there. Sign Reno! And here we are in Fallon. We are meeting US 50, the great US 50, the loneliest road, and this is where it stops getting so lonely. You turn left for Carson City and Reno, and we will turn right on US 95 for Winnemucca. That sign didn't tell us, but we were concurrent with US 50 briefly. Now US 50 is signed for Ely, and we turn left for Winnemucca. We meet I-80, so we get Reno signed for westbound I-80, and Lovelock signed for eastbound I-80. Lovelock, like I say, it's just the next exit over. It's 30 miles away or whatever, and it's nothing. Why would you not sign Winnemucca there if you're going to sign US 95 stuff? Lovelock. And yes, Lovelock, 22 miles away, Winnemucca 94, and Elko 219. Salt Lake City should be on the bottom. After passing Lovelock, now we get Winnemucca is the first city, then Battle Mountain, and then Elko. Battle Mountain, for some reason, not capitalized, and Winnemucca, the first sign on a mileage exit list like this, 72 miles away. That's something. You know you're in the middle of nowhere if the first line is 72. Here is where we leave I-80, US 95 North, Winnemucca, and downtown West. We're done being concurrent with interstates now. US 95 spends very little time concurrent, just this part on 80 and then a little bit on 40 and 10. But it is a very independent US highway, which is why I'm gonna, in my Todd's the way it should be, treat it more like an interstate than a US highway. In downtown Winnemucca, we need to turn left to continue north on US 95. We pass this lovely Winnemucca bridge under I-80, but we don't have an interchange with I-80 here. For getting to this point, you have to get off earlier or later. Coming out of Winnemucca, now we're getting 2 state routes for our next 2 secondaries, and Boise, 254. Wow, that's a nice swing. Like that. I should know that back in Winnemucca, we were signed for Lakeview and Boise on US 95 North. Here is our cutoff for Lakeview, Nevada 140. Lakeview is still 100 some miles away from here and 180 miles away from Winnemucca, and it's 2,000 people, and it's in Oregon. So wild that they are signing it on 95 North. I don't think there'd be that much Winnemucca to Lakeview traffic, given that neither one are very big. They're very far apart and they're in different states. Straight ahead, we are getting McDermott and Boise. We're in McDermott, Nevada, which is the border town, and welcome to Oregon after that. When we get into Oregon, we get Jordan Valley 101, Boise 183. So Oregon actually doing a pretty good job here. Jordan Valley is the very last town in Oregon, and then we are signed for Idaho. This is the largest junction that US 95 hits in Oregon. Oregon Highway 78 for Crane and Burns. We're heading for Jordan Valley and Boise. And here we are in Jordan Valley. I don't know, this town seems a little JV, don't you think? And right after leaving Jordan Valley, we leave, and Oregon thanks us and welcomes us back again. And welcome to Idaho. We are in our final state of US 95, but we have a long way to go because there's a lot of Idaho. Sound financial advice from Idaho DOT right here. And we are getting Marsing, Homedale, and Boise as our controls, so still well done. Marsing is where we get our cutoff, Idaho 55 to Boise. We don't go there. We are going to be signed for Homedale and Payette from now on. Well done here, signing us for Boise all the way to the requisite cutoff. In Homedale, we see southbound, we'd be signed for Marsing and Jordan Valley, and that makes sense southbound. You wouldn't go southbound to get to Boise. Northbound, we are getting Caldwell and Lewiston. Lewiston is quite a hike from here. We cross the Snake River here, looks quite lovely. We're We're now meeting US 20 and US 26 together, signed for Caldwell and Boise. Parma and Payette are on 95, 20, and 26 going in the other direction. 20 and 26 are going to be leaving us. They are going to be turning left and heading westbound, both of them leaving together for Nyssa, I guess. I've not heard of there. And we are signed now for Fruitland and Payette. Shortly after that split, we get Fruitland 9, Payette 14, and Lewiston 257. I feel like Lewiston must lead the league in having really long mileage signs directed toward it, considering it's not really that big itself. Meet I-84, and for some reason they're telling us you can get on for US 30 as well. Boise, turn right, Payette, Ontario, and Visor, straight ahead. And then they're telling us we can go both ways for US 30 again here. I feel like they totally messed up the US 30 signage right around here. Anyway, West 84 for Ontario. Here's where we meet eastbound US 30. New Plymouth, we are signed for Fruitland, Payette, and Visor, so they're sticking with the small towns. So here is the actual junction with US 30, and this time we have that double arrow sign actually telling the truth. You can now turn left for West 30 for Ontario. We are still signed for Payette and Visor. You get to Ontario very quickly heading over that way on US 30 also. It's a very short route to Ontario, Oregon, so I feel like Ontario could probably be signed on this road. Northbound US 95 is going to cut to the right, and to get to downtown Payette, you go straight. We do not go through downtown. These are some pretty small towns in Payette, so we skip through Visor and north of there. Now we're back to Lewiston 229 on the bottom line. Here's Cambridge, our secondary from the last sign, and at Cambridge, you can head over to this recreation area. In New Meadows, we are splitting from Idaho 55, and if we turn left, we are headed toward Lewiston. Here's the Little Salmon River Valley area, and on my southbound video, this was super grainy. It was from 2007. They finally had an update in the last couple of months, so we got nice views of this area without 2007 type technology. This is us driving right next to the Little Salmon River as we continue north on US 95 through the woods of Idaho. Meeting Idaho 13, which goes to Kuski, where it'll meet US 12 in the middle of nowhere before US 12 has no chance to get off for a long time. You can check out US 12 right over here. We are now signed for Craigmont and Lewiston. North of Cottonwood, now we are getting Ferdinand, Craigmont, and Lewiston. Lewiston not so far away anymore. We don't actually go into Craigmont. You have to cut over to get there, even though we've had Craigmont on the signs for a little while. And we continue north for Lewiston and Moscow. Meeting US 12, you can go east on US 12 for Orofino and Missoula, west for Lewiston and Moscow, which sounds like what we're doing. So here is the US 12, US 95 concurrency freeway. And now we split with US 12. We get north 95 for Moscow and Coeur d'Alene, west US 12 for Lewiston and Walla Walla. So we were signed for Lewiston for hundreds of miles, and we're not going to make it to Lewiston, just like we didn't make it to Reno and we didn't make it to Boise. Meaning US 195 now signed north for Pullman and Spokane, and we are so close to the state of Washington that part of one of these ramps at this interchange actually crosses into Washington and back. Coming off of US 195 though, you get Genesee is our next signed place. So we're skipping Moscow, going Genesee. And Genesee, also not on US 95. You have to turn down this road and go a couple miles to get to there. So again, we miss another town that we're signed for. We don't miss Moscow. We go right into downtown Moscow. We will be signed north for Coeur d'Alene from that point. Got another split here. Potlatch we've seen on some secondaries. Actually, I saw in some secondaries doing research. We don't end up there either. We will go toward Plummer and Coeur d'Alene. Plummer, we're now signed for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene because we're going to meet a road to Spokane soon. And we pass right by Lake Coeur d'Alene, so that's pretty cool. We do go into the city limits of Coeur d'Alene, but we don't go downtown. We miss downtown, so even when we get into a city, we don't get into the downtown. Now we're signed north for Sandpoint. Here's our junction with I-90, and at I-90, we are signed for Sandpoint and Canada. And coming off of I-95, we are signed for Hayden and Sandpoint. And this is Idaho exit 446. This is requested by Doorknob60 because you get a good view of the Silverwood theme park from this exit. So thank you so much for that request. And we have another request for Silverwood theme park from Stealthy Noctowl. So I'll show another view of the theme park, a closer up view of it. Stealthy Noctowl says that Silverwood Park is very popular with Seattle and Tacoma people for vacation. Looks like a cool park, and thanks for that request. Sandpoint 25 now, and Bonner's Ferry is now on the map at 58 away. This bridge is just called the Long Bridge. It goes over this other lake that I'm never going to try to pronounce. And we have an exit for Sandpoint, so we don't actually get into Sandpoint either. We miss another town. We are getting 95 north to US 2 for Bonner's Ferry and Canada. So right here we have West US 2 and Idaho 200. I'll give this to the Derpog, the Super 200, the start of the Super 200, the one that he's always talking about, starts right here in Sandpoint, and we are signed now north for US 95 and eastbound US 2. You get a Bonner's Ferry 31 sign with nothing else on there, and actually I think that works. Bonner's Ferry is the last significant town we get to. We're coming into Bonner's Ferry and we have City Center, turn left, so another downtown that US 95 does not serve, although we do enter the city limits of Bonner's Ferry. And at Bonner's Ferry we split with US 2. US 2 is going to head east. We are going to continue north. We're now signed for Canada. We meet Idaho Highway 1 here, and this is a pretty short road. It goes over to Port Hill and Creston. I'm guessing Idaho Highway 1 must be a massively truncated road. And now we get Eastport 16. Eastport is the name of the border town with Canada, so that is a fine thing to sign right here, and there's really nothing else worth signing, so that sign works. Right here we pass what's noted as a historical and scenic spot, so yeah, I would definitely stop there. Come on. Right here we pass through Good Grief, Idaho, so that's kind of fun. Snoopy theme named city. And we're up to Eastport, so we're getting US Border Station visitor parking. Turn left, and straight ahead is our customs and immigration area. And we see a Canadian flag and a big Canada sign and Duty Free America, so that will end US 95. We have reached the Canadian border. All right, let's take a look at Todd's the way it should be for US 95. And like I said, for US 95, especially northbound, I'm going to treat this more like an interstate because it does act very independent. It is the fastest route from a lot of distant places, so there's less need to sign small towns as there would be on other US highways. Northbound, I am going to say US 95 should be signed as Yuma, Quartzsite. I would almost go all the way to Las Vegas from there, but the faster way to Las Vegas is to take the old State Route 95. So Quartzsite to keep us on US 95, then Los Angeles when we're on I-10, then Needles, and even Needles I could kind of get rid of because from Blythe to Las Vegas, US 95 is the fastest way going through Needles, but I guess throw it in because we do pass right through it. Then Las Vegas, then I would sign Reno because it is the way to Reno if you're going to Las Vegas. It's the big draw up north in northern Nevada. Putting Tonopah in as a secondary along the way, Fallon in as a secondary along the way, 100% okay. Then Winnemucca / Salt Lake City because I-80 should be signed for Salt Lake City anyway. So north of the 50 junction in Fallon, we should be signed for Winnemucca and Salt Lake. North of Winnemucca, I'm just going to say Boise, and that's what we get. Then Ontario, Oregon, north of the split for Boise is probably the way to go because that's a little bit bigger of a town than those that we do pass through. Plus, I think it's only fair. When we pass through Oregon, we don't sign anything for Oregon. So when we're passing near Oregon, we can sign something for Oregon. After that, I'd sign Lewiston, Moscow, Coeur d'Alene, Bonner's Ferry, and Canada. Just Canada is fine because it dumps you into the middle and nowhere of Canada. All right. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Control City Freak. I really appreciate it. This has been fun. I love talking about US 95. I would love to drive the whole thing. It's a great road. And we'll be back with a road that I have driven the length of many times. Interstate 275 down in Tampa, St. Petersburg next week. So lots to talk about with that. Looking forward to that. Until next time, my name is Todd, and keep on trucking.